For the Rebbe, there was nothing more precious than every single human being, and there was nothing more precious than every single mitzvah. The marching orders were, bring these two preciousnesses together.
Shasayit tut a mitzvah in der Welt, und tut a schliches Abtebe dem Eberschen Kwajoch. Wir darf maßlich sagen, den Potter als a Prume Ried, ist jeder Mitzvah, was tut, auf seiner Matone, was gibt dem Eberschen.
One of the ways in which this book itself profoundly influenced me was the Rebbe's insistence on the importance of every mitzvah, which brings me now, when I do a mitzvah, to have a much greater increased sense of its power to affect me.
את מדליקן בשבת. אז אל תראה שכל החברות שלו יעשו גם כן. Everyone of us is putting tefillin, you eat and you are true to you. Someone else, he must begin putting tefillin. That alone is a very worthwhile endeavor. For adding a Jew to put tefillin. You're welcome.
It's a little bit confusing when we talk about God himself, or Atzmus. We're told that there's nothing you can say about it. There are no rules, there's no description, there are no words. It's indescribable, it's beyond all things. And on the other hand, we put so many restrictions on it, and we give it so many descriptions. The essence can't be changed, and the essence can't be reached, and the essence can't be revealed, and the essence can't be divided. What are all these rules? So there seems to be a big contradiction here. So to say essence is everything, but it can't be divided, and it can't come down to this world, and it can't be affected, and it can't be... So what? You know, this has to be resolved somehow. Also, we've talked many times about we are created in his image, not he in our image. So when we say God's hand or God's head or God's mouth, his words, and we say don't take it literally, because he doesn't have a hand and he doesn't have... That's a terrible mistake. We got it backwards. It's not true that we have a hand and he doesn't. We have a head and he doesn't. We have speech, but he doesn't. Because if you follow that, we have intelligence, so he doesn't. Oh, no, he's very intelligent. Be consistent. So, of course, the truth is, when we say don't take it literally, we mean don't take yourself literally. He speaks. Our speech is not the real thing. Don't take yourself literally. He has an arm. We're created in his image. So when we say kaveyochel, when we say something about God that sounds human, and we say kaveyochel as if that were literal, we mean as if we were literal. So when the Rebbe says every time you do a mitzvah, you're giving the Eibishter a gift, kaviyochel. In other words, you're going to compare it to a gift you're going to give me? What are you going to give me, a silver becher? like there's no comparison, really. But then if there's no comparison, why are you saying it? So you're saying it and then you're taking it back. There are people who have that habit. It's very annoying. You know, I used to go there. Not I used to go there. They always do that. So I told them, I didn't actually say it. Talk straight. So you say, you're giving the Eibishter a gift. Well, not really. So why'd you say it? So what it means is, you're giving the Eibishter a gift, but it's a real one. Don't compare it to your gifts that you give on Mother's Day. To be timely. So when it comes to God's essence, to God himself, and we've spoken about this, I think, on different occasions, those who learn Hasidus get the impression or make the mistake that God's essence is the highest of all levels. So there's the lower level where God is involved in creation. There's the higher level, God before creation, beyond creation, unaffected by creation. And then there's the highest level, God himself. So if it's the highest level, it has all the restrictions of high. So it can't be low. So it can't be any of the things that exist in the lower world. So by thinking of God himself, of Atzmos, as higher, you're limiting him. You're boxing him in to a condition that has many restrictions and many rules, and that's not appropriate. But doesn't it say in Hasidus that Atzmos, that the Etzem can't be divided and can't be... So it's obvious that we're talking about two different things. When you're speaking about the difference between the essence and revelation, between Etzem and Gilui, there are different rules. Gilui has its qualities, its properties, and Etzem has its properties, which makes it different. But when you're talking about God himself, there are no limits. He's not high or highest. He's not. The word high is an insult, is a restriction, it's a limit, to us it's impressive. Oh, he's high, oh, I'm impressed. But we're not talking about high, we're talking about that which is the ultimate essential emes, which is high or low, not low, high and low at the same time. You don't put limits on that. So to say that the Eibishter himself, oh, he can't be affected. Nothing can be as affected as the Eibishter himself. Why? Why not? Because he's too high? Then you're not talking about the Eibishter. Then you're talking about some high godly creature that is limited to being high and can't come down low. So just, I don't know if it's really connected or exactly the same, but when we say tzimtzum, and we say tzimtzum conceals God, the fact that the table is only 8 feet long, not more, that's tzimtzum, right? That conceals God. The fact that the table is a table and not a chair, that's a concealment of God. It's not at all. On the contrary, it is revealing God's ability to be finite or infinite as he chooses. So finite is not hiding God. That's one of God's talents. A sin, unholiness, that hides God, but not. So why does a sin hide God? Why is God not in the sin also? He's everywhere, he's everything. There's no restrictions, no limits. The answer is he is. He is in the Aveda, in that he doesn't like it. And he really doesn't like it. So I think if we straightened out this misconception, stop thinking of God as high. High is not a compliment, it's a restriction. And you don't put restrictions on God. And that's why the Baal Shem Tov said that simple people who are not so learned are in some way closer to God, more intimate than the scholar. Because to the scholar, it's like, when you say God, what do you mean? You mean before he created or after he created, within creation, outside of creation? To the simple Jew, when you say God, you mean God. Like in a good marriage, when I say I'm yours, I mean yours. Oh, which part of it? No parts. You. So for two reasons, this attitude is dangerous. Dangerous. Because on the one hand, if you say God can't possibly care or need, what are you doing to Yiddishkeit? And on the other, if you think that being perfect means I don't care, every relationship is in danger. The statement, I have not changed, is a big topic in Hasidus and needs a lot of explanation, because what do you mean? Before you created the world and after you created the world, nothing changed? That is so counterintuitive. So there are all sorts of deep, profound explanations of how it's possible that the Eibishter creates the world and he lowers himself into it, and all sorts of, and it hasn't changed. It's not a simple subject. If you take it to an extreme, I, God, don't change means I don't care. Because if I care, I change. If I don't care, well, then it's all over. So what are we talking about? I mean, God forbid to even consider that. So when you do a mitzvah, you do an aveda, I don't know. What is that? So what have we devoted our lives to for 3,000 years? One of the best explanations I've ever heard on the Lo Shanisi is since everything is included in God, you can't really call any activity or any expression a change. Like, for example, a person would say, there's a pitcher in baseball. He can pitch with his right arm and he can pitch with his left arm. He's got two talents. He's a switch pitcher. That's amazing, unique, unreal, unheard of. But what if you say, but I know another pitcher who also has two talents. He can throw to the east, and he can just as easily and just as well throw to the west. So, no, come on. That's not two different talents. It's the same thing. You throw it this way, throw it that way. So when you say the Eibishter knows and the Eibishter doesn't know, the Eibishter wants, that's like the pitcher, throwing it this way, throwing it that way. It's all one truth, and it expresses itself in different ways. You call that a change? He switched. If he's pitching with his right arm and then he pitches with his left arm, he switched. Something changed. But God's ability, which is unlimited, expresses itself in unlimited ways. So what's the change? Oh, I thought he could only create one world. He can create two worlds. What's this? I thought he could only be infinite. He can be finite. That's silly. It's not a change. So the fact that God gets pleasure from a mitzvah, or I don't know what word to use, agony from a sin, that's all within his infinite repertoire. There's no real change. So whatever the explanation is, the question is a question in God created the world. What do you mean he didn't change?